Hi guys! Welcome back to another video, and today we're so excited because we are trying out different churches in northern Scottsdale. So we are looking to obviously move in together after we're married, and we like the church that we're at right now, but it's all the way down in Phoenix and it's very far for us to drive.
35 minutes.
Yeah, so today we're trying out Impact Church in Scottsdale. We're very excited. We got a lot of references for this church on a Facebook group that we asked, so we are just excited to see what it has to offer. So we'll let you guys know how we like it, and we'll show you some film along the way.
See ya.
Bye. Hi guys! So we're back from Impact Church, and it was honestly a lot better than we expected.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, the pastor was really outgoing, and the worship was amazing. It's kind of comparable to Hillsong Church in downtown Phoenix. We tried that church when we were first dating, and I had gone 1 or 2 times before I met Logan, and we have our own thoughts on that church, but it just wasn't the church for us. So this church, you know, when you go to big churches, you are not really sure what to expect, because a lot of the times we're just afraid it's going to be a little bit too surface level, and we really appreciate a church that has a deep message and a really genuine connection.
And he really engaged the audience too, which was not some churches I feel like aren't able to do as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like at the church we're at right now, a lot of the people are just quiet during the service, and you know, the pastor gives a great message, but you don't really feel it resonating with the body. So we just really thought that with Impact Church, everyone was super involved. They were, you know, praising God the whole time, and that was just something we absolutely loved. I think the only thing that, Logan, you said you kind of didn't appreciate was that there wasn't an opportunity for us to greet each other. So
usually a pastor's like, before you sit down, greet the person next to you, yada yada, and there wasn't really anything like that. That was the only thing, really.
Yes, and it was a little interesting with their mask mandate, so they decided to have rows that were masks optional, and then masks like required.
So if you want to wear masks, you have a section where there's people wearing masks around you.
Exactly. So that was kind of cool. It was nice. We got to sit pretty close. We got there a little late. Their service was at 11. We got there at 10:45, and we had to like, you know, park way far away.
Yeah, the parking lot was packed.
Yes, and there are shuttles, so that does help if you catch one. Kind of reminds us of GCU. And so, but other than that, it was pretty great. They have a lot of women's Bible studies as well as men's Bible studies. They're really big on, like they had mentioned, growing big as a church, but also growing small and having those opportunities for you to connect with people your age. So
and that's something we're trying to do.
Yes,
as a couple, finding
we
a new church.
want to build a community. So we're very interested in this church, and we're also going to keep looking, and we'll show you guys the next church we try out. So thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
What's up, guys? So it is the next Sunday, and we are going to a church called Highlands. It's pretty close to Caitlin's apartment. It's about 12 minutes north of us, so not too bad. I don't think it's too far from where we're looking to live either, so hopefully it's a good service, and we're excited to go see it.
Yes, we are. We'll let you know how it is.
See you guys.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
So we just got out of church, and we actually, the first impression was the campus that it's on is beautiful. We're like, the area is gorgeous. It has beautiful arches, and we'll show you
It's definitely something
footage.
It's definitely something different you'd see from other churches.
We were kind of walking around, and we were like, oh my gosh, we could get married here.
It's very pretty.
It was so pretty. It's kind of like a Tuscany feel, and we got here about like right when church started, 10:45, and we didn't have an issue finding parking, and we didn't have an issue finding where the service was.
Inside's kind of like an auditorium.
It kind of almost looked like a play, which was really pretty, and we'll insert footage too of that so you can see what it looks like. And so worship was really great. I think that they did a really good job. They have kind of an older worship leading team, so it was like maybe 1 or 2 young girls, but then everyone else is a little older.
The demographic definitely seems like it's very family based. Like it's something you go with your whole family. Like it seemed like there was like only families there, which we kind of feel like we may like kind of stick out there because they're just like this young couple with no kids or anything.
Literally walking in there was like no young families or like no young like couples. And I think like where we are right now, we really want to build a foundation that maybe we can grow on. So like as the young couples in our church get older, they get families, we'll kind of move into that direction. So we definitely think that it's a great church. They had a really good message. They do a lot of outreach and service.
If you're into missionary work, you definitely probably want to come here.
Exactly.
They talked a lot about missions works, like they're going to Mexico and building homes and stuff like that. So.
And the sermon was about like uncommon joy, which is really great, and going through Philippians and just really talking about the joy that comes from the Lord, which was just a great, positive message to hear, especially right now since things are just very, not so joyful sometimes. It was really great to try something else out and to kind of get a feel for, different churches. It was a little bit more formal, which like we did like because at Impact it was just very casual. The pastor was really casual, but again, not bad. Something that's just different. And every church is going to be different, so we're looking forward to trying out. I don't know, do we know where we're going next year? Next year?
I think next week we said Scottsdale Bible Church.
Scottsdale Bible Church. So, we'll keep you posted on how that goes, and we hope you enjoyed our review of this church.
Yeah. See you next week.
Hi guys. Oh, so sorry.
In the face.
Hi guys. Okay, so we just got out of service and it was actually pretty good.
Should we say where we went first?
Oh yeah, we went to Scottsdale Bible Church today. And we were a little bit late because I was running a little bit behind, so that's my fault. And when we walked up to the building, they actually redirected us to a separate auditorium. Because they said that their main service area was full.
It was packed
out. So we were like, oh wow, and we kind of knew because the parking lot was packed.
I'm assuming too they cut off some seats for social distancing, maybe. So
that's
that
probably also it. So I personally thought the message and the worship was amazing. The worship was really, really good. The message was talking about broken relationships and Peter denying Jesus 3 times and just the different ways he denied him. So it was pretty good.
But it's just so interesting the second room they had to send us to because we were watching everything on a giant screen that stretched across the stage.
And it almost looked like they were there.
It almost felt like they were actually there because the screens are so good.
Big.
But it's just so weird. I've never experienced something like that, like not actually the worship and pastor being there in person. So it was definitely interesting. You definitely want to come here early. You don't want to be late.
Don't be late.
You want to be in the actual service. And there's 3 locations for this church in Arizona, so it's crazy that it still gets packed at this one when there's 3 locations.
I know, and they were throughout the message referencing the other 3 churches, so we were wondering if they showed the service, like maybe the pastors take turns and they do it on screens, or they could just be referencing it for anyone online watching. So we got a little confused. The only thing we probably didn't love was that the room that we were in, the body or the people, the audience was really kind of quiet.
You just kind of didn't really feel this, like the spirit of God in there. Really. Unfortunately, just like last week, kind of. When we mentioned that to you guys.
And they were just a little like you could tell they were there, they were present, they were kind of doing their duty, going to church on a Sunday, but you didn't really feel like they were there to get something out of it, to apply to their life. And worship being really involved and genuine is really important to us. So that might be something we're going to definitely take into consideration. But other than that, it was a good service.
There was a good mix of demographics too, like young
families,
couples, older
children,
couples.
And they have small groups as well. Most churches that we've visited so far do. So that might be interesting if we were to pick this church to try out their small groups. But other than that, definitely give it a try, but don't be late.
We're not sure what church we're trying out next week, but you will see in the next scene.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, so it is the next Sunday and we decided to go to Illuminate Community Church.
Okay, so this church was actually pretty close to my apartment, and it's going to be pretty close to where we're looking for Logan and I to live after we get married. And we came in and the parking lot was pretty full, so we were a little nervous, and we saw people sitting outside. So we thought, oh my goodness, like we're going to have to stand outside the whole service. Maybe they reached capacity. But we walked in, and it was really kind of cute because there was a whole hallway of numbers, so it looked like they have a lot of childcare for kids, and they had a cute little coffee bar, you know, set up for coffee and water. And we went into the service, and I'm sure we'll insert footage, but it was really pretty actually.
Yeah,
they
it was
had
very pretty.
Lights everywhere, and it was pretty packed. A little warm, to be honest. But they turned the AC on. Worship. How did you feel about worship?
I think the worship was pretty good. It seemed like the people were a little more into it than like the previous two ones, maybe.
Yeah.
Like they sang along to it, and they stuff like that. Whereas like the previous one, they kind of just stood there.
Yeah, that's true.
The worship team was a little older, a little bit on the older side.
It definitely kind of feels like they, represent the elders in the church, and there was a lot of families there with, like teenage kids.
Good mix of ages.
Yeah. It kind of like, to me, felt like one of those churches that you go to because your family goes there.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like one of those where you're like, oh, I can't wait to leave and like go try a different church. And
to me, it felt a little bit more like that at Highlands, though.
Yeah.
Here too, but like Highlands a little more.
And it kind of feels like a little bit, almost like I don't want to say this, but like we're in hiding because it's in such a businessy building. You know, if you ever
it's around a lot of
way.
Businesses.
And sometimes I do really like going to like a church building or a building like it really feels like you're going to church.
Yeah.
And the message was pretty good. It was.
For me, it was a little hard to follow.
Very hard
because
to follow.
The pastor seemed like really like had like a theological mindset.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
It's kind of tough to follow if you're really like a theological person. You might enjoy his teaching.
Exactly. Yeah. Some people really want to go to a church where they have that theological approach, and they really teach you like what the Bible is saying and why they're saying it that way, and Greek root words and things like that. And previously, my family's church back in California, our pastor was a lot like that, and I just never loved the service because I could never really understand what my pastor was saying.
What I got through it is like, what I mainly got through it is he was basically trying to say that like tough times are supposed to be there to make us stronger. Kind of.
And it was kind of talking about being like a lukewarm Christian and things like that. So it was a good message overall. I think that's important, but I do think that there's a lot of pastors who really do that life application, and like, while that's not always necessary, it does really help engage your audience, and it does really help also to pause in your message. And it kind of felt like he was like just going and going and going and like, giving his message, which is great. And I know that a lot of the times people have places to go and places to be. So I think we'll just keep trying out a few churches. This might not be the one for us, but it was still good to go and try because there were some good recommendations for it.
I think we have 2 more on our list.
Yes, we'll see where we're going next week. So thanks for tuning in.
See you next week.
Bye.
What's up, guys? So it is the next week, and we went to the Trinity Church in Scottsdale. It's kind of in the Talking Stick area. Yeah. So it was actually a really good service. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Really good. Yeah, we walked in. The parking was a little odd. Yeah. Not paved parking, but it is what it is. Yeah. And there was no worship beforehand. We were 12 minutes late.
I think they may have done a song or two just quickly.
Probably.
Because we were about 10 or 12 minutes late, so we're not sure.
Exactly.
Because we walked in and they got right into the preaching, and the preacher had a really good sermon. He's very cutthroat and to the point. Like, if you like someone like that, then he's definitely a preacher for you. He doesn't cut around the edges or whatever the saying is.
Whatever, beat around the bush.
Yes,
whatever,
beat around the bush.
That too. It was really good. The sanctuary, I always forget the word sanctuary, but the sanctuary was pretty small for how big the building was. I was just a little surprised. I expected it to be like a huge sanctuary, but every seat was taken. Like, literally there was no, when people like save a seat and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna sit next to you. No, people were sitting next to each other. There was families, there was young people, there was older people. Like, it was a very good mix of a demographic and ages. So that was good. It seems like they do have small groups, I think they mentioned. And but yeah, the service was really, really good. It kind of seemed like the pastor didn't really care about a time. Like, I don't really know what time it is right now.
Yeah,
but
he probably spoke for a little over an hour.
yeah, it was good. Yeah. So it wasn't short, but it wasn't like so long where you're like, okay, it's like I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good message. If you want to listen to it, you know, I'm sure you can look up their church and check it out. Yeah. Worship afterwards was good. It wasn't like some grand production like some churches have. Like
it's just like a band on a stage.
Exactly. So yeah, it was still really good, and there was like a ton of people talking afterwards, and they have this huge like little kids center that we're looking at with like these blow up things, inflatables and so it really seems like they cater to your kids too if you are families, and they will watch your kids while you're in your service. So yeah, it seems like a really good church, and I think that this might be an option for us.
Pastor's very passionate too. He's definitely not boring.
He's
comedic too. He made us laugh quite a few times.
For sure. So I think that there's like people walking, but I think that, you know, this is definitely a good option. So next week I think we have one more church, right?
Yeah, one more church.
One more church, and then we will hopefully maybe try a few more if we're still not happy with any of them.
Maybe.
But I think hopefully we'll be able to find one out of like the 6?
I think we tried 6.
Yeah, 6 we've tried. So yeah, happy Sunday, you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and talk to you soon.
See you next week.
Bye. Good morning and happy Sunday. Today we went to Desert Springs Bible Church, and it is located here in Scottsdale, again, just a little bit farther than a majority of the churches that we've tried out.
Yeah.
And this campus is very small and quaint, actually. We kind of knew that coming into it. Didn't know what to expect, but
it's actually the least packed church we've been to.
That is true.
Kind of gives like a neighborhood church vibe.
It is in the middle of like a neighborhood. There's houses like literally right across the street, and no parking issues or anything like that. We went to their 11 a.m. service, and it was an experience to say the least. We ourselves really prefer a church that is very upbeat and going to really give you a message that inspires you for your week, but also is on a topic that is really just relevant to not really what's going on in the world right now, but just what people really need to be hearing. So this sermon really did focus a lot on the way God molds and shapes you during these challenging times of COVID. And personally, I don't want to go to church and listen about a sermon about COVID personally. I just believe that, of course, it's okay for churches to acknowledge that there are things going on, but to make they had a very long video, like a minute video all about COVID, as well as lots of masks, which is not bad, but of course we just prefer not to wear them. And you know, so what are your thoughts, Logan?
She pretty much covered it all. It's definitely an older demographic too, so people our age just kind of feel a little out of place just because there wasn't really any young people there. It was definitely a lot of older people. So if you're of an older age, you might fit in here well.
Exactly. If you have a family, there was a kids section that looked super cute, and there were a lot of like, you know, maybe early 30s, mid 30 couples who, you know, they might have a really great community. They do have a ton of services for like Celebrate Recovery and things like that that they talked about. So that is really awesome, and it really seems like they try to, you know, serve in their community. So that is great. But you know, it was an experience. I'm glad we got to try it out and see something new this Sunday.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all of the churches on our list that we were going to try. I'm not sure if we're going to try any more, maybe, but
we are apartment hunting. So say we find our apartment and then we want to try a few churches that are nearby. we might do that, but this might be it for the video.
Yeah.
And I hope that you guys enjoyed going through all these churches with us, and I hope that helped you too if you are looking for a new church here in Arizona.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to look more that aren't on this list. Look for more and try them out, because we think that, you know, finding the perfect church for you is really important to encourage you and uplift you
Very
in
important.
your walk.
I'd argue one of the most important things to do as a Christian.
Exactly. I agree. So yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your week or day, whatever you're watching this, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys.
Bye.